Okay, so can you hear me right?
Yes.
Yes, we can
perfect.
hear you.
Good. So good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the panelists, the speakers, the audience. Welcome to this afternoon workshop in the framework of the European Sustainable Week, dedicated to the green recovery post-COVID-19. The title of this session is Cities, Can We Deliver a Green Deal? Well, as the Secretary General of Eurocities, the leading network of major cities in Europe, I'd like to answer with yes, we can. So, yeah, before starting, some rules for the session. They are nothing new for the people who've been working the last few months on webinars mainly. So please keep your button on muted, your audio on muted. Sorry, I have my little 3 years girl in the background. I'm really sorry. She will leave now. So please keep the mic muted when you don't speak. And if you want to ask questions or contribute to the debate, please use the chat. The organizers will anyway try and cluster all your questions or take your questions at some point, and we can put them to the panelists. All right, so these are the rules. Now, thanks to the organizers for inviting me to moderate this session. I'm really happy to be part of this event, exactly because of what I said before. I think the title resonates with me, but also with many of the cities that are here, and also from our network. So we really do believe that cities can contribute to deliver the Green Deal, and they're actually already doing in many, many cases and in many, many ways. So the idea of this afternoon is to look at how cities contribute to the EU emissions reduction targets, and at what are the most effective initiatives that cities put in place to take us there, to get us there. This will imply, for instance, going around Europe. We have the Balkans, in Italy, in Turkey, and in the Netherlands, and hear about how climate neutrality can be achieved through a systemic transformation of cities, and give us successful examples of solutions that, as we said, contribute to the objectives. Now, in this respect, we will cover the areas of energy generation and consumptions, but also sustainable urban mobility. So we have a fantastic panel with us. So we can start with Sofia, coordinator of the City of Skopje Innovation Center. We can hear you well. Can you say hello?
Yes, hi.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, very well. Yusuf Alpergocha, if I pronounce it right, consultant of the mayor of Antalya. Hello.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Perfect. I can hear you very well, very clear. Clara Callegaris, head of the Smart City Unit in the city of Milan.
Yes, pleased to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Very crystal clear. Perfect. It works. And Matthijs Kok, who is the developer of the new energy and electric mobility system for the city of Utrecht. Right? We can hear you.
Hello.
Perfect. Okay. So before I give the floor to our speakers, maybe a couple of reflections from our side, from my side, that really wants to connect these examples, what we're going to hear, with the reality that we are all living through at the moment, but also the reality and the recovery phase that is awaiting us in the coming months. So the first point I would like to make is that as we prepare this recovery, there's been a lot of talk about returning our society to normal. Now, let's be frank, the pre-COVID normal is not a normal that was actually working, right? At least not for the people like you, like us, who care about inclusive economies and sustainability. Because think of what normal was before COVID. It was 7 million people dying prematurely every year due to air pollution, power grid dependent on dirty and dangerous fossil fuels. It's a transformation system geared towards petrol and diesel powered vehicles. It's a consumptive market producing too much plastic. food system that, you know, is totally wasteful. So a quality of life that is not equitable, just, or inclusive for a lot of us in the society. So it's like a lot of people are left behind in this kind of society. And, you know, we've seen that in the, let's say, the crisis is exposed actually all of these things. So it's a normal that we don't want to return to, right? You know, we're already in a way on the good way to that normal, because I've seen things and I've heard about decisions that are not very hopeful, I fear, but still I think it's worth shouting loud that we don't want to go to that normal, because it's not working for the majority of people, and it's definitely not working for the planet. And as I said, the crisis has shown all these aspects. So that for me is the main reflection. I think cities are seeing that, because all the, I'm thinking of Milan, all the sort of, you know, new things that they have put in place, like new invest in cycle paths and so on, is exactly things that show that these decision makers don't want to go back to that normal. So the other point is to say that the Green Deal is a way to avoid going back, or at least stop that normal. Because the Green Deal has been put at the center of the new proposal of the new MFF and the recovery plan. Now the point is, can the EU achieve it? Can we deliver it? Can cities contribute to it? Well, I think that cities are already delivering, in a way, the Green Deal. They have not waited for the European Green Deal to actually start their transition towards climate neutrality. I mean, cities like Utrecht and many others have not waited. And in Eurocities, 64% of our members have committed to reach the climate neutrality by 2050, if not earlier. There are many cities that are also committed to achieve it earlier, and so well ahead of the publication of the climate law. So in this session, we will see some solutions, as I said, implemented in different cities that actually contribute to the objectives of the Green Deal. So now that you know, we have that, can we look at how the Green Deal can contribute even further? What are the tools, the means that our cities need to make Europe the world's first climate neutral continent by 2050? And I don't know if you have heard about this 100 cities, 100 climate neutral cities by 2030 as a mission, you know, from Horizon Europe. It's an idea that was launched by Commissioner Moedas, previous Commissioner on Research, and that really wants to give a boost to the potential of cities to help the fight and actually the goal of climate neutrality by 2050 through cities. So I'm part of this board that has designed the mission of the 100 climate neutral cities by 2030, and we can even look at it later in the session if we want to. But that's a way in which I think, you know, it's a real important signal that cities can actually really make the difference in achieving these targets. So we will look now at all these examples. Maybe we can start with Sofia from Skopje.
Hi all.
Hello. So yes, so citizens engagement seems, yes. You want to start with your presentation? It's probably easier without.
Yes, yes, I think so. Just a second, so I can you please share the presentation, since my computer is asking me to quit the. So if it's possible, the organizer in the background just to play my part of the presentation, it would be much easier.
Sophia, I think now you can share your screen. Just check it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I can do it, but I think that they made you presenter. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's I need.
Yeah.
I can't. I need to quit my webinar. So if it's possible,
see
if
my
you can
screen
play
now?
on. Yeah. Okay, I will just say next when you need to move, and I think we'll be fine. So hi everyone, I'm really, must say on the beginning, I'm really glad to be part of such an event, and with this maybe put Skopje on the list of these 100 climate neutral cities by 2030. My name is Sofia, I'm part of the Smart Up team. It's a civil society organization that works as an ecosystem builder across disciplines and organization to address or find solutions to complex city challenges. Next slide. Can we go on the next slide? So on the beginning, for the ones that maybe don't know Skopje that much in North Macedonia, I would like to give a few facts about our city. Skopje is a capital city with a population of almost 500,000 people, which in the same time represents 88% of the total country population. Skopje is positioned in the most developed region in the country and currently is contributing with 47% of share in the national GDP in North Macedonia. While on the other side, we are also lowest energy consumption country in the Western Balkan region. And if we compare with Europe, we are also a country with energy consumption being 2.4 times lower than the one in Europe. In regard to the city of Skopje, it acts as a separate administrative unit and covers 10 municipalities with a main role to do some overall strategic and administrative work, while the municipality itself, even having their own mayors, are part of this whole systemic and functional systems. As part of SmartUp, I must say I'm really proud that one of our key projects is the Skopje Lab, or the City of Skopje Innovation Center, which is established in 2007 with support of the city and the United Nations Development Program. And as such, it enables and leads a process of co-design and co-creation between the public administration in the city and all the citizens, including private, public, and civil organizations, to address complex city challenges. If we can move to the next slide. So being in position to work in between the public, the private, and the civil sphere, it really helps us, not me personally, but also on my team, to more deeply understand all the challenges the city is facing. And that means in all aspects of what, how, who, and why. And in that regard, helps us move to a mindset of being problem-oriented to more like opportunity-oriented. And when we talk about challenges, we are not different than any other southeastern city, meaning that we have face air pollution, we have poor infrastructure to a certain degree, we face a lot of distrust into public institution, migration, and so on. And we also know that in order to address these challenges, which are really complex and systemic, and if we want to become carbon neutral by 2030, we need to design systems that are really functioning and working, but in the same time considering the reason behind these challenges. And why that is important, because if we just go on the problem without understanding the reason behind, we're not going to come up with a functional and effective solution. So in that regard, it's really important for us, while designing the processes and the systems for development of solution, to consider several challenges that we believe are crucial for Skopje, and maybe it relates also to other European cities. And in that regard, I would like to mention our difficulties with policy implementation, which means we have policies and strategies and action plans, but we definitely lack interinstitutional cooperation and coordination, especially in the planning and implementation phase between, most specifically, between local municipalities and public enterprises. The second one is the low capacity of the public administration, but more focused on understanding the implementation of new models, new initiatives, solutions, or financial mechanisms to deliver on these plans and strategies. And this becomes even more relevant if we talk about radical transformation and green initiatives, which are even new for us, despite working in innovation centers and labs and more, I would say, institution being in time with all these changes. Relating to energy transition and renewable energy sources challenges, also for us is really important to know that the fact of having low energy prices, which are going to 0.08 euro by kilowatt, is something that makes the transition to renewables even more difficult than compared to other countries in the region and in Europe. Here is also the issue with the energy poverty. 25% of the population in Macedonia are almost unable to keep their homes adequately warm. Then the next slide, if possible. Regarding insulation and retrofitting, it's really also important to have in mind that 50.8% of all our buildings do not have any kind of insulation. 42 have thermal insulation, which is below the requirements, and only 7.2 have live in buildings that have thermal insulation, which is according the requirements to achieve this carbon neutrality. And last, which is maybe important to mention, is the progress regarding renewables in transport. The target of North Macedonia for 2020, it's 10%, and it's obvious that we won't achieve this because of the use of biofuels. And if we considering the latest analysis that in 2018 the share was only 0.1%. So these are there are many challenges, not only the ones that I mentioned, and they're all somehow linked together, resulting or reinforcing some negative patterns that makes for us even harder to target not only the causes but also the impacts of the climate change. But in the same time, we are a region of such an amazing potential, considering also the position of our country in terms of geographical positioning. So we need to think and consider more radical solutions and strategies. So if we can go on the next slide. We believe that we have potential, and we believe that change is possible. So in 2019, Skopje, together with 4 other cities in Southeast Europe, joined the initiative of 8 Climate Kick, which is called Future Cities of Southeast Europe, and with the main aim to make our city one of the best places to live, work, and visit by 2025. If we can go on the next slide. This is part of our initiative. We are still on the starting point. Next slide, please. So what would be our goals as defined in the Green Deal? And it's more than understandable that one of the priorities is to bring this air quality into the recommended limits to achieve circular and net zero greenhouse gas emission, ensure all members of community have equitable access to fundamentals of well-being, and also reduce our year-on-year impact on flooding and heat in our communities. That's why we need to continue working, but we need to continue working in a more different and more radical way. If next slide, please. What this would mean, that we need to relearn how to work together toward the critical shared outcomes. That means that we need to move beyond the traditional political dynamics and relationship to a more systemic or holistic approach with new models of governance. That means we need to be willing and experiment with different forms of collaboration, and then build a relationship and structure across communities that can deliver on all these goals. If we can go on the next slide. That is why for us it's really important to focus on how we need to do things instead and complement on what we must work on. It's more than obvious with all strategies and plans what we need to do, but maybe the reason why we haven't done it till now is because we didn't know how we need to do the things. So in that regard, if we can go on the next slide, to deliver on this huge depth of work and delivery. We started or designed together with our partners from Climate Kick a framework that we would like to follow and that we believe that will give the results we want at the end. This means defining challenge and owners at the beginning that were willing and committed to go for radical climate actions, together to define a clear intent or ambition targets to achieve climate net zero emissions, and with that identify the main systems that we need to put in place and move the barriers in that preventing us to do so. In this way, we will believe that we're gonna come up to design together portfolios of innovations that will tackle these barriers, and on the end, through this whole process of learning, we can unlock change based on the examples from other European cities or globally, and help us scale our actions. If we can go on the next slide. That is why we adopted more of like neighborhood scale actions, where we're going to target 2 to 3 focus neighborhoods representing our wider city challenges, and we can demonstrate that this action can be taken on a much higher scale and replicated in the rest of the city. If we can go on the next slide, using different co-creation methods. We are currently working with the city of Skopje and the 10 municipalities, firstly to build shared understanding of the process and build a systemic portfolio of action that will deliver this strategic direction, meaning in the same time choosing 2 to 3 focus neighborhoods. And in parallel, we also work with our design partners to frame economic cases for our city for carbon neutrality and transformation, and to explore different financial mechanisms and structure that will develop new models for collaboration. And before I finish, I would also like to mention that despite being a team, or a yes team as we say, and we work on building the systems and the processes, the city of Skopje is also pursuing and implementing different types of measures. If we can go on the next slide. In terms of mobility, the city is currently working in implementation of bus rapid transit system with 2 lines. We improved or we enlarged the city bus fleet with 26 new sustainable buses. We constantly work on biking infrastructure, and one of the measures targeting citizens is the subsidies for bikes and scooters in the last 2-3 years. If we can go on the next slide. Regarding water, we are in the final phase of realization of the water treatment system implementation, in energy provision of different subsidies for home heating, air cooling, and so on, retrofitting public buildings, and all other measures related to public spaces and implementation of new green areas. And if we can go on the next slide. And we can go further down. I already mentioned this. And then the last question, where I would like to finish my presentation, it would be, how would our city look like if the best possible scenario in if our process is implemented will look like? I believe it will look like something like Antalya, Milan, or Utrecht. And we believe that together we can go on this change and bring really radical transformation to become more climate, or become with the end goal climate neutral planet by 2030. Thanks to all participants, and I believe in the next 3 presentations you really enjoy seeing the examples of how this can be done in with specific cases in different cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. That was extremely interesting. I've heard about Skopje exactly through the Climate Kick, but I hadn't understood all the details of it, and I'm really impressed. And I can really, I mean, for me, the sort of points that I can pinpoint is the strong political will, so the ambition, really saying we can do it, we believe change is possible. So that's a very strong element in that. The holistic and systemic approach, so you don't just talk about one stream, be it mobility or energy only, become excellent in one of those. No, you are looking exactly at the real systemic change, which is what is needed. Then you are looking at a public administration that is fit for the future. And in that respect, it's like looking at how politics actually works, the governance, the coordination, the capacity building of the public administration and so on, and get support on how to do it. And finally, I think that's really very relevant to work on the districts, on different districts, to be able to scale up. And that's also what the 100 Cities Mission 1 would like to invite cities to do. So thank you very much. And you created the bridge yourself with the next speaker, because you're talking about the ideal scenario, and you mentioned Antalya. So maybe Yusuf Alper Gocay, if you want to use the next 8 to 10 minutes to tell us about the new high performance districts. Yusuf, we've lost. You were there before. There's always.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back
But
with us. We cannot see you. Or unless we want to see the presentation as well. I don't know if one or the other.
Sorry, we are having a slow connection problem with the internet. Maybe you can go to the next speaker, then we will fix the problem in that way. Okay?
Yeah, as you wish.
Sorry.
Okay, so we just move a little bit.
Sorry for the
no problem.
Okay.
We move a little bit more north, and we go to Milan with Clara Callegaris. If you can just mute your audio so we can we can't hear the background. That's it. Who's gonna talk to us about Milan? Yeah.
Okay,
Clara, the
perfect.
floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Here I am. Well, thanks again for this occasion. First of all, as I said before, I'm head of the Smart City Unit, which here in Milan is a cross-cutting unit, which actually sets the main priorities in the smart city. And as you can imagine, in the last years, sustainability and the well-being of citizens has been our priority, and is working, coordinating transversally the different departments of our municipality in order to have an integrated approach into these objectives. Today I will talk. There are some interference. Today I will talk to you about actually one of the most experimental and innovative projects we have been handling, and we are still handling, which is a project which we have been able to handle thanks to a European project aiming at creating a nearly zero emission district. And I don't want to, let's say, in this speech to talk to you about all the policies that are going through in this moment in Milano, which are all aiming at the main objectives of the Green Deal, but very concretely want to give a deep hint into one of the challenges we had to face. So we'll talk to you about the co-design process we had been handling in order to identify and implement deep retrofitting intervention on private buildings. As anticipated, this was able inside a European project, a Lighthouse project, which is the so-called the Sharing Cities project, which gave us the possibility of doing a real integrated operation. So as you can see, thanks to the financiation, thanks to the partnership, the big partnership with the private companies, industries, representatives from the universities, as well as on the organizations, we have been able in this area of the city, in the southeast of the city, to do interventions which were actually working, integrating mobility with public retrofitting, lampposts, and in an overall integrated plan. But considering the Green Deal, we wanted now to focus and give you an exact idea of what Milan had to face on one of these pillars, which is still one of the big challenges cities have to face, which is the fact of having most of the European cities having old building stock with low energy performances. We know, in fact, that 40% of energy consumption in Europe actually is due to buildings, and the same situation is here in Italy, where you can see that 56% of buildings are actually with low energy efficiency, a G energy efficiency, and only 2% will are performing at best, so in A scale. Things are getting even worse normally when we talk about public buildings, with the continuous raise of expenditures for the heating. And what happens in Milan? Actually, the greenhouse gas emissions are surely decreasing in the years thanks to the integrated policies that have been taking place. So things are going much better, but still you can see that buildings are the ones compared, for example, to public transports, the segment which is performing, reacting and regenerating less quickly than the other ones. So it's contributing still to more than a half to the generation of CO2 pollution. So this is why it is a big topic, and we had the chance, and we had been very successful, as you will see further on trying to face the problem. Starting first of all, thanks to this European project, to let's say a district of Milano, which is this southeast district, which is still a big area because it's 40 square kilometers, which had a specific situation of being peripheral compared to the center of the city, and had 70% of buildings which were GF energy class, so a very poor performances. The project was providing us a big challenge because we had to retrofit 21,000 of square meters of private residential houses on top of the public ones. And we knew that from one side, the fact of having a European project provided us surely favorable conditions, because we could go to the owners and proposing them 10% of co-financing into the cost of the retrofit. We could face the proposal with a strong private and public partnership, and everything was in line to the overall Milan political energy policy. On the contrary, we knew since the beginning that the challenge was really tough, and we were afraid of not being able to face it, because we knew that we needed to gain a broad consensus by the owners of the private buildings, because we needed the majority of the owners in order to be able to proceed with the works. The timings due to the project were very tough. We had only 3 years for having all these goals reached, and the intervention that were needed in order to arrive at least the 50% of reduction of energy goals was implied very deep interventions in the buildings. So we realized that being this the situation, we could not focus only on the financial saving as a trigger to involve citizens, but we need to build up new co-working with owners, a really new co-design methodology, which revealed to be the real successful methodology that we are now scaling up. And this was due thanks to, first of all, a call of interest in order to understand inside that area which were the private buildings interested in applying to this co-design process. We had 52 answers, so 52 feasibility studies that were done, thanks also to the, as I mentioned, to the strong partnership with the private sector, university, together with obviously the municipality. And after that, this process brought up to 20 buildings which decided in their assembly to proceed with the participated diagnosis and to the very heart of the co-design process that I will explain you before. The overall process involved 924 families, so you can imagine the difficulties of the process, and with the very deep co-design meetings that were structured in a, let's say, sequence, the one I'm showing you in this slide. First of all, there was a first approach with the buildings, the 20 buildings that decided to proceed. We were mixing representatives of these owners into different tables in order to have a first approach, which we call a trust approach. We needed to have an introduction with them, explaining also with ice-breaking exercises, which was the goal from our point of view, but also listening a lot to their wills, to their needs, to what they wanted to have for their buildings. The second meeting was a knowledge meeting in which we were going a little bit into deep, having technicians beside the owners and having them understanding what could be the results of the energy audit and trying to work together in a very simple way, as you see from the charts, in trying to invent possible scenarios of investment, of the interventions that could in any case come up to the energy savings that we wanted to reach. The third meeting was actual final meeting in which sorry, I'll go back to that. The two different scenarios were presented by the engineers with a deep understanding for the owners of the different of what it implied also from a cost point of view. Obviously, there was a basic kind of intervention. Everyone was customized to each single building, and a more deep one. What happened, just to give you an idea of the kind of interventions we are talking about, we are talking about houses that, as the one in Tito Livio, which was the first retrofitted, that it was performing F, as you can see on the left side. It was a 28 apartments, so it was in any case a residential building in which we had some very structural interventions common to all the others. For example, the facade thermal insulation, as well as the photovoltaic panels, the LED lightings that were inside the common parts of the buildings. And all this was possible, enabled a reduction of energy consumption of 55% and a passing of energy class from F to C. This was the first building that was had works finished, and we actually did a big event with our major, our deputy majors as well attending. So it gave a big push in terms of visibility and communication, and this helped a lot in the word of mouth that we had afterwards. Another kind of intervention was the one in Via Verro, the one I'm showing you. As you can see on the left side, the building was very old. It already needed some interventions. So the owners took advantage to do a very complex intervention, which went very deep into not only the roof and the facade and the floor thermal insulation, but also, for example, in remote management system of heating. So just to say that each building, thanks to this co-design process, could be really designed with the energy consumption, energy saving intervention really made suitable to the owner's needs. If we have to see, if we can see the main impacts of this activity on building retrofit, we are very, very proud of it, because we not only reached the goal of the project, which was 21,000 square meters, but we even went beyond that with the 24, so 4,000 square meters more. And we couldn't believe it at the beginning of the project. We had also buildings as big as Benaco, as you can see, with 137 apartments. So this was the big challenge of convincing people living in going ahead in this kind of investment and activity. But this enabled us to have an overall, in this part of the city, a 60% of energy consumption reduction, which is a big goal, considering what we are talking about, the goals of the Green Deal. And moreover, citizens realize that when afterwards we are in the years of the monitoring, because all these works have already finished, we realize that citizens not only are happy about all these interventions because they have a cost reduction, but also the well-being is improved. So the word of mouth is also doing a lot. Our will, obviously, as a city of Milan, is start from this experimentation and scaling up on all the city. And so in this sense, we are now, another call has been brought on and it's still open, which is the P2 public call, which is a public call handled by our colleagues of the energy department. But in any case, we are joining in order to put in common all the positive, let's say, learnings from our project. And as you can see, it has the potential, this call, to retrofit 300 buildings. We have been started in 2018. It is related to, in any case, private buildings of different kinds, not only residential. And at the moment, we still have a lot of amount to be available, to be invested. So we already gained a lot in terms of energy saving, as you will see, but we still have budget left that can be invested, and we will proceed in this sense in trying to cooperate throughout in extending the good results of our first experiment, sharing cities experimentation, throughout all the cities. So this is a quick overview of what we did, and I will obviously be happy to answer to questions afterwards.
Yes, thank you very much. Quick, but also extremely interesting and exhaustive. If you think what the work that is behind that, it's amazing. I mean, we know it directly because in the sharing cities, we're partners, right? And so we've been seeing exactly all the work you've been doing there. It's amazing. So what I would keep from this presentation is also, again, how from a district you can scale up and really become, you know, much more powerful in many other, even in other departments, and allowing the cooperation also inside the administration. And yeah, this new co-design methodology and the real how do you say, involvement of the owners and of citizens, and see actually how, if you buy them in, if you involve them, if you work with them, now we know it. It's just, you know, the impact and the results, and it's yeah, you can't do that without it anymore. It's not even conceivable. So it's really a proof that it's really important. So yeah, thank you very much. I think that Yusuf is now ready. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So do you want to start?
Sorry, we had an unexpected issue with the computer.
Yeah.
So I think you can hear me correctly.
Yes.
Okay. So I need to upload my presentation, then I can begin my presentation. Okay. Gözüküyor mu orada şimdi? Hazır mı? So we have the title, cities, can we deliver a green deal? So new high performance district. So first I need to tell you what are the problems. What are the problems of Antalya city? So from beginning of the 80s, with the new immigration to Antalya, with the action of tourism, the rapid growth in urban immigration, we had 5,000 people living in Antalya. The population was 500,000 people. So today our population is reached to a degree of 3 times bigger, and now it reached 2.5 million people. So this population also occurs an urban sprawl. High degree of population growth pressed the city bounds with the same degree. The bounds of the city reached in a huge growth. So that also brings high energy consumption with the population, also the tourism facilities and the metropolitan city population brings high energy consumption due to climatic needs in Antalya in summer season. You know, it's too hot here, so air conditioning uses also raises the high energy consumption, and also, as I told you, the tourism. A major drain in the city's resources and planning capacities, infrastructural investment and public costs could not plan simultaneously with the urban growth. The urban plans were done year after year, but the investment costs, investment plans did not simultaneously did with the urban plans. The social reflection of the crisis periods affected with the international disputes, terror threats, pandemic, and those directly reflects in tourism with an unemployment problem. Also, this effect occurs annually during the off-season. The off-season is out of tourism, and many people are not have the chance to employ. Decreasing of agricultural workforce as the services sector has advanced in parallel with the tourism and supply. Also, high demand to metropolitan city urban settlement decreased the agricultural workforce, attracting a new large traffic to an increasing population, and also the tourism activities brought a very large traffic. So what are our solutions? Our solutions are solar panel fields, solid waste landfill. It is located at Kızıllı. Carbon footprint and sustainable energy action plan of Antalya. So I must remind you, I must declare, we are the first city in Turkey. Also, IST solutions, information and communication technology, smart city, social platforms, and we have also a social connection in our municipality called ABİM. You can, anybody in Antalya can reach to ABİM with telephone, also with email or so. Quick info for the daily services also. So we have smart solutions in transportation. So we have intelligent or smart intersections in some of crossroads. Urban transformation, where we have in 3 different neighborhoods. One of them, our first Kepes, as you know, And we have +2 places, Balbe and Güneş neighborhoods. We have urban transportation in 3 different neighborhoods. And as you know, we have match-up project. So this is a nice and big sample of solar panel fields. This is our municipality's solar panel fields, and it works perfectly and gives energy to the artificial places. So this is solid waste landfill in Döşemealtı, Kızıllı. It's working for many years, and now it's perfectly handling a big duty for the city's wastes. So as you know, our Kepez Central District's urban transformation, the first of many smart districts targeted by Antalya Metropolitan Municipality within the scope of urban transformation. This is the new Kepez Central District. Kepez Central District had improper settlement conditions before. Those settlements were illegally constructed. Also, this area was having a collapsed social environment. So through match-up, the district will create a $2 billion economy for Antalya and will be the first of this kind or its kind, where a smart city is being created from scratch using several smart city initiatives. Infrastructure, energy, mobility, water, lighting, environment, security, health, smart home and integrated technology solutions will be provided to 80,000 residents who will live and work in the region. Dangerous and earthquake risk urban area has been demolished, while all ownership problems have been completely resolved. These all of the development of a smart, green and livable area. This is a sample view of our Kepez Central District urban transformation. So Antalya, our municipality, looks forward to achieving sustainable local development by providing a high quality of life, skilled employment and competitive service, agricultural and clean industries. So our match-up project, we have smart city actions in Antalya will be carried out in 4 main categories: energy solutions, mobility solutions, ISD and LOT solutions, and citizens engagement solutions. Energy solutions, we have new buildings, new residential blocks in Kepez, our match-up Kepez Central place. So we have 46,000 meters square residential blocks at 9 blocks, B energy rating district, and also you have PV installation for public buildings, solar thermal collectors. We installed all of these residential buildings, electrical storage for buildings and charging stations. So we have automatics and smart controls, smart grids, public lighting, especially we are installing LED public lighting at public lighting, Orbin REC. And when we come to mobility solutions, as you know, we have we are planning electric vehicles. We plan to buy 4 hybrid buses, 20 vehicles for municipality fleet. We will use it at our municipality purchases, and scooter charging, and 30 e-scooters. So at charging, we will have charging stations e-vehicle charging points and e-scooter charging stations. So at our ISD solutions, in our ISD solutions, we are developing citizen engagement for the public services and activities, and also policy making. We will have new open data gateway. New open API developments and big data functionalities. So, so what are our impacts? So with the energy produced in the solar power plant, the energy needs of the irrigation cooperatives were met and support was provided to the rural development process. Approximately 120 million kilowatt of electricity was produced annually from the biomass at Kızıllı. LFG power plants, solid waste collected from 11 districts, is disposal to produce 22 megawatts of energy. So with the conversion of the lighting fixtures, used the public lighting system to LED system, approximately 60% savings we achieved, and the energy needs of 15% were met by the solar energy. With the expansion of the rail system network, traffic was reduced and public transportation use was increased. The urban problems pertaining to Antalya have been elaborated and discussed by many stakeholders and organizations of the city and elaborated in detail elsewhere. So Antalya is the first metropolitan city in Turkey to have undertaken the task of reducing urban GHG by formulating the so-called SEEP, a trademark of the COM, Community of Mayors. In this way, Antalya has made a bold move to move forward to create a livable, climate-friendly city that is respectful of its citizens as well as nature. That's all for my presentation. So many thanks for giving a speech for us. So
thank you. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much, Yusuf. It was very interesting, and congratulations for being the first metropolitan city, yeah, to having embarked in such a important path, yeah, and adventure in a way. So good. And you brought in also the perspective of the use case in terms of tourism, for instance. That's a very very key element, and the impact of that and all the things you need to do related to that, all the challenges that go with it. Yeah, it was very interesting to see, for a rapidly growing metropolitan area, how you are dealing with this. Impressive. So yeah, great, thank you very much. And now we can conclude. I mean, you mentioned also mobility, so again, it's a good bridge to Matthijs from Utrecht, who will tell us about the mobility, the new mobility system, right? Sustainable mobility system in Utrecht.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Annalisa, for the introduction. Just start off my presentation. I'm Matthijs Kok. I work for the city of Utrecht as a policy developer on the themes of electric mobility, smart grid development, and other teams. And I'm the project leader of the IRIS project, which is an Horizon 2020 project with a demonstrator in Utrecht and 7 other cities working together on smart grid and smart energy solutions for cities. My presentation today will focus on a really specific solution we are developing within this Irish project, and we've been working on before that for a few years already in Utrecht, which is a vehicle-to-grid bidirectional ecosystem. We call this specific solution, which could help to deliver to the Green Deal within other cities as well. So I'm very excited to present this solution for you today. First, some figures of our city, Utrecht. It's a middle small town in the Netherlands. It has a population of 350,000 people within the province of Utrecht, which contains 1.3 million people. It's a progressive town with a progressive city council with high ambitions on urban healthy living. We call that in Utrecht. The city targets to be climate neutral as fast as possible, but at least by 2050. For instance, we also have the ambition to have a zero emission environmental zone for vehicles for the inner city to be total emission free by 2030. And these ambitions give us some specific challenges. Three challenges I'm going to explain to you right now. One of the things what is coming from these ambitions is that many rooftops in our city are being put by solar panels. We have the target of 20% of all rooftops with solar panels by the year 2022. In 2018-19, it was already 30% of all rooftops have these solar panels installed. Another thing what's coming to our city is electric mobility. That's had really great growth over the last few years in the Netherlands in general, but really specifically in Utrecht as well. For instance, last year, December, we saw almost 50% of all new car sales were electric. And this will speed up over the next years as prognosis shown in this figure. We expect by 2025, 1 out of 5 cars in the city will be fully electric. And all these cars need to be charged, partly also, and mainly in the cities, by public chargers in the street. We're working on that already for a few years now. We already have 600 of these public chargers installed all over the city. That's the orange dots you see on the map. And we just presented today a plan for an extra 2,600 of these public chargers for charging electric vehicles. So we can charge all these 25,000 vehicles we expect in the year 2025. Another challenge we're put for due to the energy transition we're going through is that most houses in Utrecht are heated by natural gas, which is a common resource, a natural resource for heating in the Netherlands. And you see the blue lines on the map are these gas. Is the natural gas grid, which is really dense and extensive all over the city, and which is also almost 50 years old now and needs to be replaced. And that's the dark blue lines, and the purple lines are the district heating. We're looking at not replacing these natural gas grids and replace them by either electric heating or district heating, depending on the local conditions of each neighborhood. And where it is electric heating, this also puts extra stress to the electricity grid. So all these developments, solar power, electric heating, and electric mobility charging, all put extra grid stress into the electricity grid. So that's a big challenge for our city. If we zoom into this problem on a neighborhood level, this is just a common neighborhood, 19th century inner city neighborhood in Utrecht, where we have been running some experiments over the last few years on this issue. What you see here is a map of the natural gas grid, and again the parts that need to be replaced over the next few decades. These are the energy labels. So most houses are poorly isolated, being F or G labeled for energy usage. So it's really challenged how we are going to make these houses go through the energy transition. If it's going to be electrically heated, this is the grid which should supply these houses with their electricity. For this neighborhood, we see 18 extra public chargers having 22 kilowatts each. Then we add some central solar roofs to that, combined approximately 70 kilowatts within this neighborhood. And there's a transformation station at the Floresstraat. That's just an example within this neighborhood. And if you look at this extra power added to this neighborhood, you see the chargers, the PV solar, the dwellings with electric heating. It adds up to almost 570 kilowatts. Not simultaneously, but still, it's a lot of extra power. If you look at the capacity of this transformation house, which is only 630 kilowatts at its maximum, and it was already enlarged from 400 kilowatts over the last few years to 630 kilowatts. So if we put extra 500 kilowatts to that, we do have a problem. And that's not only for this neighborhood, it counts for all neighborhoods in our city, but also in other cities in the Netherlands and Europe. So solar power, electric mobility, electric heating means grid stress, means extra investment into the grid, and meaning high transition costs for society. In the end, we all need to pay this together. Now, within these challenges lies actually also the solution, and that solution we have developed over the last years in Utrecht, and it was presented on the March 21st last year. And this is in the middle our king coming over to open in Utrecht the first bidirectional charger, fully bidirectional charger with a new communication standard and the full bidirectional cars delivered by Renault with that. These bidirectional chargers give us the opportunity to use these electric cars as a battery on wheels. They can charge the car when the renewable energy from the solar PV is available, and can release this energy, for example, during the night when there's no sun, to deliver power to the grid. And it's a working system within these areas. So the first charger was put on the street last year. And actually, it has a really big promise to for our city. We have we want to get rid of the fossil fuel. We want to be a city fully on renewable energy. And our university calculated our city could be powered for a whole night without sun and with electric heating by just adding 8,500 of these bidirectional cars and chargers to the street, because they have really big energy storage. And we have more than 130,000 cars in our city. So actually, you really need a small percentage of these cars to be bidirectional and to be charging back into the grid to make this solution work. So now we are expanding this vehicle-to-grid network over the city. Last December, we opened the 50th bidirectional charger within our demonstration area in Kanaleiland of the IRIS project. And already now we have more than 100 of these chargers available in the streets. But actually, we're talking about an ecosystem. It's not just a charger. The charger is part of a bigger ecosystem of electric cars, shared cars, being operated by a shared car owner who delivers the energy back, who gets information from the grid operator, the DSO, who gets information from a party and aggregator who delivers energy service to different energy markets, who delivers the information to the charge point operator, and this whole chain of vehicle to grid working together, I would call it. We are trying to get into work in Utrecht. So this is also the V2G cars. We already have 50 of these cars in the street right now, and we're also working into integrating these solution into a broader neighborhood energy grid by putting also a stationary battery within this system. Last year we installed a 750 kilowatt hour battery, and this summer we will put an extra 600 kilowatt hour battery on the street within the IRIS demonstration area. And our goal, our aim is to become the first fossil-free city in the world powered by this V2G bidirectional ecosystem. And as shown before, this is really reachable for us. So what is this V2G bidirectional system? It's the core is the bidirectional chargers connected to the shared cars, powered by all the PV solar available. We add some stationary battery for congestion management to that, managing the grid capacity and delivering renewable smart energy to our houses and our cars. The ecosystem also consists of many partners working together in our city to make this whole system work. And the promise of this system is a scalable solution for V2G charging of cars. By that, avoiding extensive grid operation in our inner cities. We don't want all the extra transformation houses in our street. We don't want to open all streets for new grid cabling. So it's allowing for sustainable and healthy cities in Europe, giving affordable energy to the energy transition and offering cheap and green power to electric mobility. So I really think we're developing a solution that is scalable and could also be really promising for Utrecht, the Netherlands, and also for other cities in Europe. That's my presentation.
Okay.
If there are any questions,
yeah, we can see now if there are questions. Thank you very much. I think, yeah, the challenge of the extra investment in the grid is well stressed. And, you know, also this alternative fuels mobility and all the challenges going with it, including the charging. So if this can be a solution, this bidirectional, I cannot even pronounce it, sorry. V2, you have to find something that for citizens, normal citizens, is sellable. Then it's perfect. Then it needs to be scaled up 100%, and you can still be the first to apply, the #1 city, but it looks really extremely promising. So thank you to all of you. I mean, we had foreseen to have a first round of maybe questions to each of you, but I think I would rather, before doing that, if we have time, we can do it. But it would be nice to see if the audience has some question. But I can't see anything in the chat, but maybe it's me.
Yes, we have some questions. Good afternoon.
Yeah, because I think let's take a few questions and wrap up. We have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes for the questions, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, we have some questions for all the speakers. So the first one for all the speakers, okay? Is there potential for contradicting between local government cities and national governments in delivering the Green Deal targets? How to assure both level works in the same direction? This is the first question for all of you.
Maybe if we can go quickly in terms of the, because every country is different, so the balance between local and national can be very different. It could take 20 minutes each, but yeah, if we can quickly touch, or maybe only a couple of you can do that, and then we can listen to the next questions. Let's start.
2 minutes to answer.
If you want, I can tell you what can be from our Milan and Italian point of view. Surely there can be a lot of coherence and in the action, both from a municipality point of view and a governmental one. If we think about the building retrofit, for example, a lot of push forward that helps the municipality into this action is coming from the eco bonus, for example. So it is that is important as well in order to help us having this quick change and convincing owners into these works. The same things as well can happen also in transports, because Milano, for example, I focus on building retrofit, but obviously we are working a lot as well, as I said, on other policies, and transports are other main, let's say, challenge that we are facing, and we are trying to push on more sustainable ways of transport. So also in that sense, having laws that enable new ways of transportations is one thing, because in our case we have big restrictions that we have to face when we have to implement new technologies. And on the other side, all these new bonus that are coming, for example, in these days after the COVID situation, in trying to enhance more the cyclist ways of moving rather than you know, the cars, which is a battle that we are facing since years already in Milano, and we are pretty much forward in this, can be very much helped also by by this bonus coming from the government. Obviously, we are comparing now in this speech the city of Milano, which has 1,300,000 more than 1,300,000 people, which is a little bit compared to the province of Utrecht, as I was saying before. So it's quite challenging, but the two actions, local and governmental, are really very important to reach the objectives.
Okay, any one of the others quickly? I mean, no. I think
can answer.
Netherlands are good. Yeah.
Available.
Turkey, Antalya. Yes, Yusuf, please.
Yeah. We have established a new directory in our municipality, Directory of Climate Change and Renewable Energy, working on policy making on these issues. So our municipality is also a frontier on this issue in Turkey. So we are working together with the Ministry of Environment. So we have connections, we have good relations with the Ministry of Environment, and we are following the rules, also the laws So we are applying it in our municipality.
Maybe I can share something from Skopje. Yes, the question was very interesting, and of course there was no always perfect alignment between national and local government. There will always be some kind of challenges and different priorities. What is really important is to at least get to some degree of adjustment of policies, like we have national and energy climate plan, which is aligned with the Green City Action Plan, which is aligned with the energy strategy and so on. And the second, maybe most important thing is to finalize and build a network, having people in different institutions that are really willing to do certain change and work continuously, co-creating together, aligning needs together in order to get that group of supporters that will push forward for actions. As we say, you need to build a yes team, people who don't quit on the first no, but really looking forward to come up to good solution and actions. Definitely persistency and continuous work with the public administration in order to show them what would be the benefits for the community, but also what would be the benefits for the local government if they join a transformative process. So maybe that's on short.
Okay, I think we can move to the second question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can go. Mathis has a lot of questions. I think that his presentation is it has been really interesting. So a question for you, Mathis. How about battery e-waste produced by bidirectional charging? Is there a good solution for green battery production and recycling? Do you know about this question? Can you illustrate us?
If there's a good solution for battery recycling. That's the question?
The question is there a good solution of green battery production and recycling regarding the battery e-waste produced in this system?
Okay. Yeah, but for recycling, they're working on solutions, but that's still complicated. The most promising solution for that is now reuse of car batteries within stationary battery solutions. So the stationary battery I showed in the presentation, giving where you can store renewable energy, for instance, for a housing block for the night. You can use reuse car batteries within these stationary batteries. That's now the most common solution already available in market for the production of batteries. Yeah, it's of course complex, but it's a one-time process. Whereas fossil fuels, for instance, every time you need 80 liters of gasoline. And here you need one time to harvest lithium. So it's which is of course an energy intensive process, but compared to a fossil alternative, it's still better. And I'm trying to answer some questions on the, because I can answer questions on the chat. So I will do that as well.
Yeah, actually you have a lot of questions, Mathis. So maybe we can collect them and try to solve these doubts by email, or we'll see, because there are so many doubts, so we can just handle in this line.
Another maybe to answer, because I see the same question a few times about what is the business model and how does a car owner can profit from this V2G functionality, and that's really a thing we're working on right now. what we are looking for in the future is lower to charge cars in a point of time where energy is cheap, or when grid capacity is low, and or the DSO or low prices on the energy market give an advantage of low prices for the consumer, for the e-driver charging their car. And when energy prices are high, or the DSO needs extra power at a certain moment in time on the grid, a car owner could be paid for delivering power from their car at that specific moment on time. And it's not like a person has to push a button to make this happen, but you can develop smart energy services already developed by different aggregating parties to do this for you as a car owner. And we're working on these solutions as well.
Mm. Yeah, thank you very much, Mathis. Maybe we don't have time for one last question, maybe. Let's
from the audience, or from, can I ask questions?
Yeah, from you.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's, I mean, for me, what remains a little bit, something, the sort of elephant in the room is a bit the financial element. How do you see that? Does it scare you? I mean, because if we want to really transform, as we said, systemically a city, you need a financial plan, and you need a lot of money. It's not peanuts. It's not the sort of European project that will solve that. This can be a trigger, but I mean, the amount that is needed is huge. So do you want to say anything about this, the financial sort of elephant? Number one. And second, also, it's not only about the financing, but it's also about changing the economic model. So the consumption, changing the mindset of people. It's a big question, I know. But if one of you wants to pick up on one of these aspects, I think it could be interesting, because these are challenges that are, common to all the cities that are embarked in this process. No? None? Clara, I see you nod.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want. Well, what we can say is that for sure this is a big issue from the administration. Moreover, as you were saying at the beginning, moreover in these days, since we need to face further emergencies, so the administration cash flow is always reducing more and more. What we have been realized before the COVID emergency, and now it's even more, let's say, effective, is that we need to work more and more together with the private sectors in public partnership in many projects, and also with the new financial segment, which is more and more interested into investing into sustainable projects, sustainable both from an environment point of view and also from a social, let's say, point of view. So I can say that as a smart city department, we conceive smart city not only as, let's say, promoting new technology, but promoting technologies that really can help and improve the quality of life, new projects. And in the sense, we are working more and more and at having partnerships with the new financial sector that is interested in this ethical, let's say, approach to the public problems.
Yes, totally. Sustainable finance models and so on.
Exactly.
I know that Skopje is also looking at these things through the climate kick. You're looking into that, but or Matthijs or Yusuf,
Yes, for Skopje first. Yes, we actually, that is the way we go forward. We are in a process of exploring different financial models. So what Clara said about public-private partnership, yes, but also including the citizen in this whole process, how we can design models that work for the citizens, with the banks, with the private sector, and with the public sector. Maybe different models of partly co-financed by the city, partly private investment for citizens that on a long run can be paid back, and then banking sector and private sector as well. In that regard, our main selling point with the private sector is boosting local economy, getting new knowledge transfer, maybe from other cities in terms of new technologies, and how we can explore more deeply and develop locally. And definitely using this new model of maybe venture capital, private investment, and defining this kind of a new models. But we are still in the beginning, so I hope that in the next half period of 6 months, we will have something that can be tangible and tested at least with some small local action. But yes, we move toward this new way of designing new financial mechanisms locally. This is why I said, when I mentioned about challenges, local administration capacity, not that much in terms of implementation, but more into understanding these new financial models, what is possible and what is not.
Yeah.
If I can take the occasion, Annalisa, of this question, and linking to what Sofia was saying, on top of the private, the PPP possibility and the impact finance, there is for sure another methodology that we have experimented. We were one of the first cities in Europe to experiment the civic crowdfunding, and it has been very successful. And nowadays, I say it because we have just launched a new phase of civic crowdfunding, which has really the aim of also trying to democratize, let's say, the social projects that are more needed into the city, and trying to gain funds both from, I mean, we are co-financing eventually the projects which are winning this public call. So it's quite interesting, and a new approach also to this innovative and sustainable projects. Exactly.
Yeah, very nice, very interesting. Okay, but maybe Yusuf and Matthijs, if you don't want to talk about this, maybe 1 second, a recommendation from your project that you would give to the other cities.
Well, maybe to also about the financial part. For us, this is just the charges in the street are within an operation and in a concession, and they're paid by the operator. So actually, we earn a little from this, from giving the opportunity for a charge point operator to sell electricity on the street. So it's already business. And on this business, on top, we developed some of these innovations. So I'm not that worried about how we can finance these kind of developments. I think it could be in most of these solutions our business model.
Yeah, thank you. Yusuf, a last word from you.
Yeah, just a few words. Policy making and citizen engagement are the most important issues for our municipality for the sustainability of the project. We have good cooperation with the government, so we have some financial support which hold by the government. So in our urban transformation area, the law gave us a financial support as a rental support to to people at our transformation area. So we used that finance possibility at that area, and also the old management of our municipality made an agreement with a powerful and big investment construction firm. So that firm hold that investment project in Kepez district. So it's a big project that's so the financial power was very important in that investment. So the old management of municipality choose that firm. So we nearly go into the end, and we are preparing ourselves to give the keys to the people. So we have a little postpone in our project about the economic problems in Turkey, and also, you know, that pandemic problems or so. But finally, we have the chance to give the keys to the people, and people are very happy to have their buildings and flats. And we have transformed a new and good health place, and we will continue that project with the new buildings.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think it was a nice complementary final words. So I think we need to wrap up. We are already 5 minutes late. Maybe to just conclude, because I've been already picking up on the different points, I think, but maybe going back to the first question, which is the most important, you know, can cities deliver the Green Deal? Yes, they can. Yeah, it's clear. And maybe going back to even my own question I posed at the beginning, can we build a new normal that is different to the pre-COVID normal? Yes, we can. We know that the solutions are there. We've heard many of them. We know that the technology is there. We've seen, look at Utrecht, for instance. We know that the know-how is there. We know that the financial sources are nearly there, or could come even bigger. So, you know, it's just a matter of will, or a decision of doing things differently and deciding to have a new normal. So I think if COVID-19 shows us something, is that at the end of the day, what we thought was not imaginable or possible, it actually can be. And cities are demonstrating that, you know, wanting it can be the first step, and trying to do it is the first step. So yeah, thanks to these amazing panelists with all their solutions and projects. Good luck for all the work you do. I'm a big fan of all of you. Thanks to the organizing team, you know, the Matchup project, the IRIS, the IT Climate Kick, the Municipality of Milan, Polyedra, Greater London Authority, etc. Thank you to the audience, which is a pity in this case, is not to be able to see or to engage with too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, what can I say? Thank you, everyone. Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you for contributing, and let's stay in touch. And use your electric car soon.
Thank you.
All of your solutions soon. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
Best wishes from Antalya.
Bye-bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.